Good morning, and welcome to another virulent version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your voracious and verbose host, voice of Doom. The explosions are getting closer. Okay, vis-a-vis the cat, we haven't seen her in a couple days. That's not good. And it's 4:20 in the morning on a Tuesday. And I woke up after 4 hours sleep and couldn't get back to sleep, so I'm going to do some diatribes, maybe one or two. I was planning on doing a political diatribe, and then when I got to thinking about the cat, I thought that I should do a diatribe about pet ownership. And as I ran through it in my head, I realized that was going to be the hardest diatribe I ever make. So I'll probably try to do it in tribute, but I don't want to mix up two subjects because it was President's Day yesterday and I did not celebrate. I did nothing. I did my usual Monday, which is play golf with my buddies on Tiger Woods video, and more or less have the whole day to myself. Didn't even think about the presidents, and I would have to say in the entire litany of the U.S. holiday calendar, that would be the most useless holiday and the most ridiculous and the most unnecessary holiday ever. And I'm including all those hateful holidays that were made up out of whole cloth, but they have noble causes. They have noble tradition. Okay, a day of love, a day you honor your mother. I've already told you why that's absurd, but at least they're good things. Arbor Day, we owe more to trees than we do to any president that we've had. And that's just a natural fact, you might say, if you were a hippie. Now, what was I going to say about President's Day? President's Days, I guess you could say. Well, I'm not going to go through all this historical stuff. Well, yeah, okay, when we were kids, me and my ilk, we had 2 days off in February, one for Washington's birthday and one for Lincoln's birthday. They were both born in February. And we celebrated separate holidays, and I guess the powers that be said that's just, you can't just, maybe that was the beginning of starting to cancel, but they said let's just merge it into one day and call it President's Day and have one national holiday to honor the presidents. Now, every president has had its good qualities, except for one. And, well, technically president. I like to be clear. And some are held up and been given a stature that may be more than what reality was. Like George Washington, for instance. He seems like he was a nice guy, but we're going to whitewash his life. Whitewash. And proceed to kind of beatify him into sainthood because he was the father of our country. Now, admittedly, he was more or less elected as the first president by acclamation because he was a big hero. And he seemed to have some political acumen, too, and he and I are the only guys that agree that political parties are an abomination. He never wanted them. But they had to have political parties so that we could coalesce into tribes. So me and George are the only ones with that. And after Washington served 2 terms, he decided that he was not going to accept a permanent position till death of the presidency, and they made it 2 terms. It was a totally new idea, revolutionary, you might say. And after Washington left office, things started going bad politically. Adams hated Jefferson, Jefferson hated Adams. They had to work together. They had a different system back then. I ain't going into the weeds. You can figure it all out. They were at each other's throats from day one, from the second president on. And there's been corrupt presidents, and there's been corruption that has been forgotten by history. The first real corrupt president might have been Van Buren, and I really don't know why. But I've read certain things that he was kind of in it for himself. Which they all are, but I mean, Jefferson wrote, the Declaration and helped write the Constitution. So these guys had brains. I mean, they might have been politicians, but they had brains. So, and they all had scandals. Poor old Garfield got caught up in $100 scandal where he took some gratuity for $100. He didn't even know it. But so everybody's has their dirty laundry. But President's Day is what's going on today, in today's days. Well, we don't have a president per se, but the person who's occupying that office is paying homage to our allies, our staunch allies in Ukraine. He made a surprise visit. And I'm sure that he didn't really need the Secret Service agency to protect him, because he is as safe as a babe in their mother's arms. Because nobody's going to do anything to him in Ukraine. He is an asset to everybody, especially the Russians. So he's very safe. So you don't have to worry about him, anything bad happening, because that's the last thing any of these foreign leaders want. They want Petri dish to stay right where he's at and keep doing what he's doing. So he goes to Ukraine while there's other news agencies, different from mine, are saying it, so I'm not going to belabor it, but people in this East Palestine are going, we really aren't sure about the whole condition of our town here, and we really would like some support. Now, why they will want Petri dish to go there, I don't know, but I guess it's a symbolic thing that the president should show concern, whatever he is, should show concern, but he's in Ukraine showing concern and giving him a check for $500 million, and that's just a down payment. And he said, we're going to send thousands of this and thousands of that and hundreds of tanks, and we're paying to make hundreds of tanks that are going to get blown up right away. And now we're heading toward World War III. And I'm not saying that. The news is saying that. World War III with 3 distinct superpowers at each other's throats, and 2 of them are going to ally themselves together. And then we're all wringing our hands and clutching our pearls. How dare China and Russia have any kind of coalition? How dare they get along? They're not allowed to do that. We're allowed to do that. What used to be the United States is allowed to do that because we're noble. So when we have coalitions, it's all good. But if they have coalitions, this isn't good. Obviously, it's not good. Now, I had a little fantasy. I don't know if this is going to work, but watch the 5 and they're talking about this or that, and I'm kind of like, what if I was one of the panelists? And I kind of run it through my head, and I kind of laugh, but let's see how that works. Good afternoon and welcome to the Five. I'm Jesse Waters, along with Judge Janine Pirro, Geraldo Rivera, Dana Perino, and sitting in for a fleeing Greg Gutfeld, voice of doom, etc. So they're having their powwow and their confab about World War III. And, well, China might attack Taiwan, and then we have to jump in. And then if Russia, if we can't beat them back, if they can't beat them back in Ukraine, then that might escalate into World War III. So what do you think, Dana? Well, that's going to be real bad. We can't have, Okay. So they come to Voice of Doom. So, Doom, what do you think about the possibilities of World War III? And I would say, what I want to say is, I want to make this quick as possible so I can get the hell out of here, because I'm right in the middle of New York City. And you people are sitting around at your desks talking about what it's going to be like if World War III starts. Now, let's talk about the how and the where. First of all, how it could start is many different reasons. It's starting now by us, escalating these wars all over the place, and then saying if some place gets attacked, we're going to jump in. Some place gets taken over, we're going to police the whole planet. And now push is coming to shove, and we have heat-seeking missiles taking down balloons. And we're all sitting around this desk at ground zero of one of the first places they might want to decimate. Okay, where's it going to take place? Is there going to be a theater of operations for this World War III? Let's look at World War II. There was a blitzkrieg. The Germans went all across Europe very quickly and took over every country, and then we had to beat them back slowly. There was a theater of operations in Europe. Theater of operations in the Pacific, where we fought the wars, island by island, to beat the Japanese back. Where's the theater of operations for World War III? Ukraine? Taiwan? Who's going to go there? It's going to be what? Shooting at each other in fields like they did in Waterloo? With cannons? With balloons? I want to hurry up and finish up this show so I can get the hell out of Dodge, man, because you guys are sitting around talking about what's it going to be like for World War III, and you're going to be vaporized. And why should you even worry about it? That's what I'd say, and I wouldn't be invited back. So, I could go on, but I think I did a pretty good one, considering it's 4:30 in the morning. And maybe I'll do one again, if I do it today, about the pets and my history with pets. That will be very depressing. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I'll think about it. But I'll leave it there. I think that Petri Dish is stooping to new lows, and people are beginning to see it, aren't they? The world and what used to be this country are beginning to see how cavalier Petri Dish is about World War III, and how cavalier he is about poisoning small towns in Ohio. So we'll see what happens. I have a new line on the fact that everything's going to pretty much fall apart by May. So we got a couple months to prepare still. So I'm going to use that time to buy a lot of Chef Boyardee and ramen noodles, beans and rice. Okay, I'll call it a day. I hope this was a good one, and enjoy what's left of time.